Hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about the full moon tonight, the eclipse before it happens. This is a little bit last minute. I was going to do a full video, but a lot of stuff came up. I'm just getting back into the swing of things, so bear with me. Today's video is a bit bare bones, but I hope you don't mind that. I just wanted to put some information out there for you. And if you guys want a reading with me, go into the link in the description and in the comments. My website is down, but you can still purchase a reading through that link. So go and get yourself a reading if you like with me. And I've been away for just administrative reasons. Nothing bad happened to me. Thank you for your guys' concern. I'm good, I'm well, and I'm so happy to be back because that stuff that I had to do was very important, and I'm really glad that I did it and that I can be with you here now. So it's hard running a business in a new space, relatively online, social media, by yourself and so forth. So hey, I'm doing pretty good, right? Maybe not the first generation of people doing this, but I'm kind of figuring things out as I go along. So thank you. Okay, so today's full moon is actually happening at midnight or 1 a.m. Pacific time, which is about 4 a.m. Eastern. Now, if you guys are interested in seeing it, I would really recommend moon gazing tonight. It's going to be a scenic one if it's going to be visible for you. The full moon happens over North America, so most of us in North America will get a chance to see it. Western Europe, I think, as well, so it's kind of a show. To add to this, of course, it's the eclipse in Taurus. This is the first eclipse that is happening in the axis of Taurus Scorpio that's beginning in December as the nodes change and shift into Taurus and Scorpio. So we're finishing up the Gemini Sagittarian axis, and now we're beginning the Taurus Scorpio axis, and that's poignant. This axis is very transformative. One of the big events in world history that happened when the North Node was in Taurus was the Great Depression. And I'm mentioning this up front because I've been thinking a lot about it with all the mania over crypto. It really feels like the roaring 20s sometimes, that people are making like crazy decisions, leveraging crazy things, making lots of money very quickly. People are getting completely liquidated very quickly as well. So it's very much that energy. My question is, does history repeat itself, or can we mitigate it? And so hopefully by the end of this North Node transit in Taurus, we'll figure out a way to get more balance into what's going on. By the way, the Great Depression happened when the North Node was at the end of its transit in Taurus. So not at this section, not this part. It was about like a year after now. So it was like in the early degrees of Taurus when the crash happened in 1929. But yeah, so the North Node, the Taurus energy, the Scorpio South Node, it has a lot to do with money, power, equity, abundance. But I think that the lesson of that Great Depression was taking it for granted. And I really think that collectively we're learning how we have been taking our privileges for granted and how it's time to settle down. And I hope we find avenues to do that. So this eclipse, this full moon eclipse, is alongside the North Node, and that's very important. So in and of itself, it's showing us a way forward as to where things are going, as opposed to a South Node eclipse, which would have some referential aspect to the past. So this is the first eclipse alongside the Scorpio Taurus axis that will be with us for the next year and a half. And the moon is with the North Node, which is a real nice picture as to where things are going. So not to scare you or anything like that, but I want to give you guys a bird's eye view of some of the things I've been seeing in media and in the news. There's a lot going on in Eastern Europe. I'm not going to break down the variables because of brevity, but essentially, there's like armored vehicles, there's fighting, there's weaponization of migrants into Europe. And the craziest thing is what seems like a military maneuver out in space as Russia shot down an old satellite, creating a lot of debris and jeopardizing the integrity of the mission of the International Space Station. They had to actually protect themselves and shelter in place as the debris from their military tactic of testing this weapon to shoot down this satellite, this old satellite, created so much debris that could literally puncture the International Space Station. So they were in mortal danger. It's just scary to me. China has become the world's richest country by $30 trillion, and it's testing nuclear weapons that are capable of reaching new places. We've known this since the summer. But I've actually saw threats from the Chinese government towards Australia and the United States over Taiwan, which is very scary stuff, right? This is what I'm seeing with this North Node leading up to this eclipse. There's massive flooding in BC where I live. It's cut off actually the West Coast, so an area similar to Washington State, from the rest of the country. So there's no highway that's not been not only flooded, but washed out. It's gone. If you guys want to see more, I put a picture up on my community page. And there's complete cities I've been to, completely underwater in the Rockies. And who would think that a city in the Rockies would be completely flooded out? Mind blowing. These people don't have insurance for flooding. Flooding was not a concern here until now. And, they're really going through it. There's a scorpion plague in Egypt. So in the Bible, there's this scorpion plague that rocks, I don't know if it's Egypt, but somewhere in the Middle East, like a Revelation or whatever. And so because of flooding, all these Scorpios, I'll keep that in, but all these scorpions were born, and now people are dying and they're suffering, and that's horrible. So you see kind of the doom and gloom. Oh, there's one more. Today I found out that last week, it was not on the news, but the FBI email was breached by a hacker. And so what's scary to me as a person who watches a fair bit of news and is kind of aware that it wasn't on the news. So the idea is like, was it so bad that they didn't want to tell us? Like, it's the FBI, right? So when we're talking about like Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, and that's supposed to affect like cyber warfare, hacking, technology and stuff. It's like, is it here? Is there an actual threat to data or the internet and so forth? And as I would say in North America, we're fully dependent on the internet and everything that comes with it. Are we actually experiencing what we thought would come at a later point in time, right? Also the metaverse, which some people think it's good, but some people think it's not so good. I know that there's the metaverse, and then there's a competitor metaverse that just received $400 million for development or something like that. So that will be interesting. That's less of a scary thing, but depends on how you look at it again. So yeah, in the news, there's a lot of this scary stuff, and that kind of leads me into the big aspect of this eclipse, and that is Algol Medusa. Now, I wanted to do much more about this, but we don't have time. I've been talking about Medusa on the channel since about 2015. The first series I did about stars and stuff was on Medusa in 2015. I don't have it up now just because I want to just work through it more. But Medusa was, you know, a priestess, and then she was beheaded, and then she scared men with her appearance, and they turned to stone. And I think that the energy of the fear I was describing with the world events ties into her story. And I have kind of a lot of experience with Algol from working with it, learning about it over the last few years, and talking to clients who have it in aspect. And I think a big part of it, aside from the physical aspect of it, the physical consequences, is the fear. So because of time, I can't really go into all the nuances, but I think the fear is what's most important to focus on. Yes, things are happening. Yes, physically things are happening that are intimidating and very difficult for some people. But also at the same time, it's like the horror, you know, compared to Halloween, this is much of a spookier, scarier time, in my opinion. And I think I wrote about this on Twitter because I've been writing more on Twitter. I welcome you there. And I think that one of the messages of Algol Medusa that I feel is relevant for this full moon is that anger does not justify bad behavior, or I said bad actions. So you don't get to hurt other people because you are angry or hurt, like Medusa was. Because the energy of Medusa, it seems like, well, first of all, Algol is one of these stars that was first identified, early astrology. It was identified as the demon star, the winking star. Just people right away knew it was very dangerous, and it was considered dangerous by Western astrologers, and in China it was called the mausoleum, so a pile of corpses. And so it seems like around the world people felt like there was something not there. But when we tie it into the story of Medusa, it's like, what kind of vengeance is it trying to bring, right? And so because bad things happened to her, horrible things, right? And even though those things happened, the lesson is that you don't want to project that hate or that negative energy towards others, you know? This isn't clapping back or, you know, being mouthy or some minimal, you know, vindictive stuff. Like when we talk about Algol, we're talking about very like low energy vortex, and it manifests throughout history as like very traumatic events. Often has a lot to do with head trauma, so things involving the head, mental health, and then also addictions. So and when you study it, you actually see a really clear delineation. It's like Moldavite. I don't know if you're familiar with Moldavite, but when you hold Moldavite, even if you're not into astrology, metaphysics, and tarot, if you hold Moldavite, you feel that frequency because it's vibrating, and you can feel it. Medusa has a similar force. It's like you can't not see it, even if you're a skeptic, even if you're like into STEM and not into this kind of stuff. If you point out the specific things that happen, yeah, they're there, and it's very clear. So, you know, hopefully nothing bad happens. And I do want to say that it's most likely that nothing bad will happen. I feel as though leading up to this, we've had like a lot of events. That's why I kind of outlined them for you, not to scare you. But the climate has been tense, like the energy has been tense. And I'm not minimizing the people who have gone through tragedy. I'm so sorry for your experiences. But I feel like I'm hopeful with this, that's it, you know? And as bad as things are, it could be worse. And I hope it's not going to get worse. And that leads me to my next point. I'll hurry up and then we'll do the tarot. I'm not doing activated chart positions at the end today. There's no time and I want you to see this. So one of the aspects of Algol is that it has its worst effects when this star system causes the blinking, and the blinking is caused by one star going around the other one. And in fact, Algol is a trinary star system, not a binary. I've heard a lot of people say it's a binary. It's not. It's 3 stars: Algol A, B, and C, alpha, beta, and gamma. I had to double check that. I was like, yeah, that's right. So there's 3 of them. And so there's this blinking pattern as one transit in front of the other, and it appears as though it disappears because it becomes much fainter as one star is much smaller than the other one. And so it caused this blinking. This reminds me of a book I've read. It's a series. It's called the Three Body Problem series. There's 3 books, and the author is called Cixin Liu, a Chinese science fiction author, and it's about literally 3 suns. And I won't tell you more about it, but there's like an alien civilization, and it's really cool. So the Algol system reminds me of that. It's kind of eerie. We've been talking a lot about aliens, and if you know the book, it's like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen. But anyway, so this winking happens, and ancient astronomers, astrologers saw it, and they thought it was the demon star, and that was the association of the negativity. And it said, this is researched, that when the blink happens, when the light of the major star, the bigger star, is obscured, then that is when bad things happen. So when does the blink happen? So if, in my thoughts, if the blink occurs at the same time as the eclipse, then I think we're royally screwed, right? But if the blink happens at different times, then maybe we've averted it was a close call. So, being the nerd I am, I figured it out. Yes, you will not find this information anywhere else. So this is actually why I'm filming this, to tell you this information. And so the wink actually happened yesterday. And so the wink happens like every 2 to 3 days. And so the next wink will be on Saturday. So it misses the eclipse, which I think I left a message on my Twitter that I have good news. So that's my good news. So if you're wary about this star, and I have studied it quite a bit, and I've talked to a lot of clients because people know me for kind of knowing about it. So people ask. What I've really observed is that it's a lot of close calls. So if you have placements along this degree, it's a lot of close calls, but when it happens, it's bad news. So I think that it's another close call situation. I'm hopeful. There's definitely other transits that are affecting this full moon, like a square to Jupiter. There's just tense energy, an opposition to Mars as the moon enters the opposition to the sun. So there's a lot of that kind of tenseness, but I hope it's a close call, and I hope it's a lot of fear mongering. So don't be afraid. The other thing that I heard, and I don't mean to call out anyone, but since I'm on this fact check kind of streak here, I just heard someone say that you should do shadow work during this eclipse. Now, I'm one to say, like, go ahead and do magic on eclipses, and go ahead, if you know what you're doing, and go ahead and do whatever you want. Whatever the energy tells you to do, go do it. It's like you're working with a lot of interesting, intense energy. So go do you, boo. But I think that when I heard this person say, go do shadow work, with this eclipse conjunct Algol, and with the things that I know about Algol and like the low depressive energy that it entails, I don't think that it's it would be for the most adventuresome, the most experienced, and people who have maybe not a death wish, but like who have like a very like whatever happens attitude. If my life takes a really dark turn, I'm okay with that because that's part of my journey. So if you're one of those people, and most of us aren't, myself included, I would say be wary of the energy and respect it. It's like being near a lion. It's like You know, is it the time to cook steak in front of a lion? Like, what do you think is going to happen, right? So you don't want to tempt a powerful energy like this. And this is one of the most powerful energies out there. So be mindful of that. But like I said, that wink is not happening tonight. So maybe we're spared. So today we're not going to do activated chart positions. I'm really settling on restructuring them a certain way. I think that they get lost amid the other information, but we'll figure it out. But if you're curious about like timing and other moments when something similar happened, I have that information for you. So this is very rare. This is like a once in a lifetime transit. And in fact, if you've been around on Earth since the 80s, then it's going to happen 3 times in your lifetime. And if you've been born since the late 90s, it's the only time it's going to happen within your lifetime. Well, maybe there will be another time later. I'll get to that next. So there was a new moon eclipse in Taurus in 1996. But at that time, the North Node was in Libra. It was not in Gemini or Taurus. So I think that was a slightly different energy. But yes, it was along the lines of Algol. So if you want to look back at your life to 1996, that might be a time in which you can draw inspiration to understand. But it was a new moon energy. It's quite different than this. The second and more relevant one, and this is for those of us who are a bit older, there was a full moon eclipse in 1983, in November 20th, 1983. I don't know if it's exactly the 20th or the 19th. Well, I guess it must be because it's a full moon. Anyway, so that was actually the North Node in Gemini. So it was very similar to this energy. Now the other planets were in different positions. There was a whole different vibe. But if you want to look back at your life and do a little like self-study astrology, you know, you can take notes. What happened in 1983? How was it? You know? So one thing that I'm reminded of, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm from Poland, but there was a state of emergency in Poland. I'm from Warsaw, and it was a military, I don't remember it was what the proper term is, but essentially the military was in the capital, like everywhere. And so this was like a very dramatic moment. There was like an uprising against communism, and the military really squashed it down. Like it was a state of military, like they're full on. And one thing about that is that the military presence sort of stayed in Poland since the late 70s, but really since those early 80s years, right until the 2000s. So right through the fall of communism, there was always the government sort of pushing down with a lot of military presence, which communicates to me an energy of like a really brute force, which aligns really well with the ideas that we were talking about in current world politics. So I'm not, ragging on China or Russia or anything, or the US, who's begun drilling offshore, approved drilling offshore, and the infrastructure bill that's kind of undermining crypto transactions. There's like a lot of stuff going on of military power, which could be linked to Aquarius, which we can get into another video, or but yeah, just brute force power. So I feel like there's that element there as well. So in other words, don't be scared. I think that with this eclipse, there was a lot of fear that we need to work our way through. The world might seem like an overwhelming place. Extreme things may be happening, but maybe, just maybe, we are working through fear. Like those things are happening, but our fear is amplifying it. And maybe that's like the Gorgon Algol is spooking us. That's what monsters do. They try to scare us, turn us to stone, make us stop. So we can't stop. Maybe that's the lesson. And it's also important in the context of the North Node moving into Taurus, these ideas that I've brought up today, which is a little bit different for my channel, but hopefully it's not too discouraging. These ideas I feel like they'll grow over the next year and a half when the North Node is in Taurus. That includes the metaverse. Very Aquarian energy too, you know? Okay, so I think that's it for the astrology talk. I hope you, oh yes, the next time that there is a lunation with Algol is 2078. So many of us are going to be so retired that we won't even know what's going on, or we're going to be unalive. So it is what it is. It's life, right? Or maybe we'll be human 2.0 or 3.0, you know, existing in some metaverse augmented reality in our consciousness. So whatever. Okay, so yeah, there's hope. And the thing is that tonight is not going to be repeat for a long time. That's your takeaway. Now I'm going to do more consistent, organized videos from here on in, but I just wanted to have a chat with you guys in this, say hello, I miss you guys, and I did film a tarot reading for the collective and an extended for the members, so that is coming up now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of the video. Hi everyone, welcome to your reading for the eclipse. As you guys know, I do most of these first before I go through the astrology in detail, but I've already done some of the look at the astrology. So again, I know a little bit, but I want to give you guys an intuitive collective message, which I'm going to do now. Members, we're going to do an extended for you with the Lenormand from what we read today. And yeah, so I hope you guys are well. And yeah, let's see what this energy brings. I thought I would roll the dice 3 times at the beginning and 3 times at the end to give you guys some kind of insight as to the energy. So we have 7, okay, the 7th house, which is the house of relationships, Mars, the planet of action, and then we have Capricorn and Taurus, both earth signs being activated. So this is not astrological, obviously. This is another style of divination. But essentially what this means, I think there's some kind of an action for someone with regard to money, and especially with regard to their partner's money. So there's some kind of movement. And especially those of you who are Capricorns and Taurus or have lots of placements there, there's some kind of initiation, or there's some kind of a movement forward on a matter. And I think it's of the acquiring amount, like there is money being acquired and wealth coming in. So this is a prosperous message. Okay, so second dice, let's see. Let me know how you like this style. So 2 more earth signs. We have Virgo and Taurus again. Of course, the full moon is happening in the sign of Taurus, which we'll talk about a lot in the astrology. But yeah, so Taurus will come up a lot, regardless if you know a Taurus or not. And then we have the 4th house and the south node. This eclipse, again, in the astrology, you'll hear about this, is actually with the north node. So this is, the south node is opposite of the eclipse right now. So in 9 years, the south node will be in Taurus, right? So that's going to be what, 2030. There's a message here regarding food, home, buying a home, things around like your home. And I don't mean to trigger anyone. If this is something that you don't want to hear, then it's probably not for you, because this is a good message. This is a message of something that's good. So they're saying here that there's a cycle that's beginning. We know this for sure right now with this eclipse and with the nodes. That is going to have a point of completion or turnover in 9 years in 2030 when the nodes reverse, and then it'll go back and reset itself in another 9 years. So we know this timeline from the astrology, but here we have the 4th house and Virgo, and it really gives me the impression that something to do with home, either buying a home or having food, or your environment around the home being such as you'd like it, in 9 years. So it's coming for you. Maybe it'll happen before that, but this is bringing attention to the fact that in 2030 you will have everything that you want, essentially. Maybe a home, or maybe you'll have your life set up in the way that you want it to be. And that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen faster, but I think that there's a cycle that's beginning right now with the eclipse that will come come into completion in 9 years' time when the node reverses. So pay attention to what's beginning. It's leading you to prosperity with regard to home. And then third roll, we'll do 3 more at the end of this, okay? We have Leo, Taurus, again, Taurus 3 times, big messages. And then again, South Node, okay? And the 12th house. The 12th house is the subconscious. I like this. Okay, so I think this is saying that for whoever this message is resonant for, that there's major things to do with luxury, wealth, health, that is coming to you from the subconscious. So a lot of this, like who you are, the love that you have, the luxury that you live in, the comfort that you create for yourself, is now being directed from your subconscious. So it's in how you're feeling, in how you interpret things, and how you resonate with the world around you. So there's this real undercurrent kind of driving this energy. Interesting. So I thought it would be fun to use this tarot deck. It's called the One World Tarot, and you'll see how it is. It actually matches this set really well. So I hope you enjoy it. It's not one I read with often, but I thought it was a nice break from my deck. Okay, so here is your messages. First, this is for everyone. Take it or leave it, right? First message is the Tower. Big shakeup, big transformation. You'll already hear in astrology that there's a lot going on with this eclipse. I'm about to put out some content because it will be better than you expect it to be, than a lot of people expect it to be, but I'm putting that together now, so you'll hear about it. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of room for shakeups, transformations. It's a pretty intense thing. So a hummingbird with, I don't know if its tongue is out or what, it just sat down on the ledge of my balcony. I never see them. It's just chilling. Okay, here is the next message. We have the Four of Wands. Okay, so Four of Wands, the Tower. Let's see, home. Insights, powerful insights about which direction you need to go with regard to your home. 10 of Coins. Okay, Saturn and Capricorn. Okay, these have different associations astrologically, but I sort of like some of them. So Saturn and Capricorn, 10 of Coins can definitely resonate. Okay, here is the next message. Sorry if it's a little crooked. Then we have the Two of Wands. Some definitely insight about friends, insight about your friends, who they are, and what's good and what's not so good about them. But like the writing on the wall is on the wall about people you know. Princess of Wands is so I think that there could be for some of you someone who's very exciting, someone who has a very exuberant, joyful energy. They bring a lot of attention in. You could be very drawn towards someone. They could be very like innocently right in front of you, like very open towards you. What else can I say about this? I feel as though women will have a lot of comfort around them at this time, a lot of financial success, well-established relationships with people come to the forefront. There's a real strength in resources and just wealth. It's a wealthy time for women. It's also a time for women when they're really around people, particularly people that they would see in a romantic light, and be very close around someone who is maybe, how do you say, like is meant to be with them, or is meant to in some way, you know, someone who's like the right match or the right partner. So there's this real kind of closeness between women, and many of you will find that there's someone around you who is very like someone from the deep connection with the heart. I feel as though men are gaining insights about the types of women that they want to be around. I think that there's like illumination as to how things are and the nature of their circumstances. Many men may be changing their minds about what kind of relationship they want. Okay, so let's keep going. So then we have the World in the next card. Someone from far away might be coming in closer. For some of you, family member. There's a family connection that's coming in to help and bring in good energy. There's a transformation between people within the family. There's a transformation between people within the family. If there's been lies within the family that have been spoken behind people's backs, those are being clarified now. Okay, so then we have the Fool in the next card. Okay, let's see what can we say about this. The Fool here, your breakthrough is in your new beginning. So whatever is going on in your life at this time, your strength is not necessarily in holding onto what you already have, unless you're in this situation and you feel yourself so in love with someone. It's a established relationship that you feel really good about. But many of you are not necessarily like anxiously holding on to a relationship anymore. You're very much more seeking out, how do you say, reaching out or seeking out new opportunities. New love opportunities are there, and that's where you find strength. Something from the past comes in from the family, but it's sort of like it's new. It's had time to regenerate, renew, and be a new energy. The next one is the Six of Swords. In this deck, it's Venus in Libra, so if you have Venus in Libra, you might like that. Moving on from problems that have been weighing you down, finally being able to be present in your family or within your love relationship. Being present and feeling connected. Once again, you're not so distracted. You can focus on the right person. Scorpio season has done a huge number on many of our hearts, and we've done a lot of heart healing. I told you guys it was going to be wet. Sorry I wasn't around so much, but wet, I mean deeply emotional, deeply provocative, and deeply kind of enhancing our ability to feel by helping us heal certain things. So that healing has allowed you to move on and fully be present in your relationships. This is nice. Okay, then we have, these cards sometimes come out as twos. I'll just take the top card to recognize it. Okay, so it's the Moon, which I prefer than the other card that came up. So the Moon, look at this Moon. This is really cool, huh? Okay, so you may still have some residual personal feelings about who's who and what's what and how things go. You're keeping those feelings to yourself, and just being mindful of your circumstances. There's something up ahead that's connected to those feelings, such as you'll break away from something. A relationship isn't going the way you want it to be. When I say relationship, I can mean friendship too, but it's not necessarily the time in which you're going to confront it and say it. But I think that if you're having apprehensive feelings towards a friendship or something fresh, something new, someone that you're not super close with, but kind of know at this time, you'll be pulling away from them later. So take note of, like, if you're having reservations towards someone, I think it's pretty safe to say that that is going to be something you'll act upon later. Okay. And then we have the 10 of Wands. There's so many different opportunities that are here for you. It's almost so many different opportunities that if you add one more thing, it's going to be a problem to fit it all in. But this is saying fit in that extra opportunity. Make room, make space for that opportunity. It's a good outcome. Temperance. See here, it's Taurus. Interesting. Okay, so it's always Sagittarius for me. But that threw me for a loop. The truth and the balance within a relationship, within your dynamic with someone else, is going to work itself over a longer period of time. It doesn't work out itself in one day. It slowly takes time to work itself through, and it is going to get better. 8 of Swords. Okay, 8 of Swords. Some situations are stagnant. That does not mean that you have to sit there in the situation and wait for it to change. You can begin something new in the meantime and then like go back and address the situation with regard to change when it does change. So you can put something on pause and go back to it later. Okay. Then we have Justice, number 8. We have Ouroboros. I saw a video of a snake that had actually swallowed its tail. It was a very, very graphic. You know what they did to get it to stop, to like expunge it? They put sanitizer on their hands and then on the snake's face. The snake hates sanitizer for some reason, I guess because of the alcohol or something. And then it just, you know, egested its tail. But yeah, it was a real Ouroboros. These things, I guess that's where it came from. Maybe that people have seen that, and you know, back in 3,000, 4,000 years ago, maybe even it's an old symbol, 8,000 years ago. Okay, so Justice. Okay, there's, for some of you, relationships with a Libra are coming to an end, or someone who has lots of Libra placements. There's a change or a transformation with that connection on the level. So let's say that the Libra has the rising sign Libra person. That relationship might change on the surface of things. And if they're Libra sun, maybe you don't spend so much time around each other anymore. If it's a love relationship and they're like a Libra, Mars, or Jupiter, that might be changing as well. So, but I think that there's like a misstep that's going on at this time. Not a misstep, like a parting of ways. It's not any sort of animosity or negativity. And of course, if you have Libra placements, you must be like, oh crap, here it comes. And I think that maybe you can stand to expect that certain people will be changing out of your life, Libra. And it's a welcome change. It's something that needs to happen for progress and, you know, moving forward. So then we have Princess of Coins, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, another little sun baby. Okay. So there's new beginnings possible of a financial nature, but it's going to take some time for those things to really begin. So allow yourself, give it time. There's something that's, for some of you, that's sort of begun, but you're not sure about it yet, and you need to find out more whether this is the good direction for you to pursue. But this is saying with a little time, you're going to really find your pace with it. So that's a good message. Then we have the 9 of Swords in this position. Yeah, definitely there could be either from within yourself or around yourself, there could be feelings in which you're feeling, you know, triggered or upset, or someone's trying to get you to think in a negative way. There could be provocations. This is definitely coming from a dark place and not a place where you need to be right now. I know sometimes we have to look at darkness, shadow side, to address certain things, but if you're overwhelmed with wearisome feelings or worry in general, this is not the time to beat yourself up. So focus on the other energies I described here today as they apply to you. But this one, anyone making you feel like leveling you or anything like that, just step away from that. And if you're doing it to yourself and you're saying, I can't do it, this is not going to work, those kinds of things, stay away from it. You're vulnerable. There's change around you, and you don't want to perpetuate change from self-doubt, right? Or anything like that. So stay away from all those things. Five of Wands. Okay. Five of Wands. A lot of stresses are being removed from your relationships, be it at work or friendship. So if there's like stressful circumstances between you and your coworkers, or stress between you and your best friend or something like that, those things are going to be removed at this time, and is going to be much less stressful moving forward. Okay. And then we have Queen of Coins, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, secondary transits in water, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And in this position, there's a very important earth sign person that's bringing you good things. There could be something between you and them that's causing an issue, like an obstacle of some sort, but that's going to work itself out, and it's going to be okay. The next message is the Four of Swords. Okay. I think you're gaining a lot of personal clarity on issues. So when you're looking inside, you're finding within your heart and your mind how you actually feel about things. There's a clarity on your perception of people and situations. You just see them for what they are and take note and move on. We have the Three of Swords. Okay. Three of Swords. And I think that there could have been some situation for some of you around a financial matter, be it work or your business, in which there were hard feelings that were expressed between people. There was like heartbreak, like, how could you do this to me? A bit of betrayal or something like that. That really leveled your work for some of you. Made it less appealing. Something that you really enjoyed doing before suddenly became burdensome, and now you've moved on from that environment and you're getting back into the thing that you like to do, and it's coming. You're still feeling hesitant towards those feelings and things, but it's kind of water under the bridge. You're beginning something new, and you're being still haunted by the negative feelings of the past. But I think that it is definitely a new chapter for you, a new beginning. And with that new beginning, positive things come. Okay, and then we have the Queen of Wands. See, this is why I don't use these cards, because it's like the same picture over and over. Okay, so Queen of Wands. So, but they are kind of cool though. I like the cards. I just don't like the court cards in them very much. They're very repetitive. Same pic. It's the exact same photo. So I find that frustrating. Okay, so Queen of Wands. Listen, it's not yet time to, step out and do everything yet. This is really a dark point. We've had several dark points this year. We've had the Saturn and Saturn, the Great Conjunction, and Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius, and at the winter solstice last year in December 2020. And then we have this eclipse, which I would say arguably is also like a dark point. Energetically speaking, like a new moon. So it's not necessarily, of a bad energy at all. And so there's several different dark points this year. This is just a preamble to a lot of light coming into our lives, respectively. And so in terms of those of you who want to step out and do what you want to do, if you're already doing it, you might feel barriers to achieving that. If you're not doing it, then I think that you may in some way be anticipating it. Like, I want to go. So if you're doing it, you might feel frustrated that you're not getting the light and bright that you are working towards. It's coming. And if you're waiting for your opportunity, there is going to be an opportunity that comes up that will make things really shiny again. And I think that that correlates really strongly with these low points, these dark points. We also had a really bright point in July and August. So if you June, July, August, if you want a inspiration, then look at that. There was a lot of when I say light point, I mean like yang energy, like very conscious and aware of what you want to do. This is strong yin energy that we're in now. There's like an internal place. A lot of things to do with this eclipse are very internal, very dark, very feminine, yin, receptive. So it's not woman, man necessarily, although we take on those qualities or energetic qualities by gender, but it's more the frequency of yin. Okay, and then we have the rebirth card, which is Scorpio, right? We're finishing up Scorpio season. This is ruled by Mars, and this is ruled by Mars and Pluto. So both of them are Scorpio, strong Scorpio cards. Okay, so change and transformation, like I said, Scorpio season, I probably won't talk so much about this in the astrology, so here it is. Really healed us, as we said, with that water frequency, a lot of coming to terms, seeing the truth, seeing the writing on the wall, healing through that and recognizing what we need, recognizing what we've been denying ourselves, facing, like accepting that something worked or doesn't or didn't, and making decisions based on that. Okay, so so fundamental transformations, be patient, and I think that there's a lot of frequency here of it's not yet quite time. You're getting a sense of things, though. It's not the beginning of a journey, though. Many of you are already well on your path. You're taking in information now. You're watching your environment and learning. Okay, so 3 more dice rolls just for fun. We have Mercury. We have Scorpio. And then we have Sagittarius. So we're on the cusp of Scorpio, Sagittarius in the 4th house. So home is very, very important for many of you. There's a message that's coming to you very quickly. Very important message that's coming for some of you. Something to do with the home. Insight about change. It's going to be of a helpful nature. That's the Sagittarian. Change is the Scorpio card. Message about home, communication, things are getting better, something stepping in, it's improving the overall quality of the environment. Okay, next message we have is Scorpio, Capricorn, Neptune, and the 9th house. So that's up Jupiter's house. Okay. I got this before. With financial matters, be very careful of dreaminess or, living in a daze about financial matters. Stick to the concrete. Don't be so ambitious with financial things at this time. Don't take unnecessary risks. There's things that are changing with regard to money for all of us. This is just a general environment, and you may be used to things being a certain way, but they're going to be a different way now, moving forward. It's not something that's going to happen very quickly, 6 months to a year, but as we go along, we're making choices. So be prudent financially at this time. Not bad. I'm not saying negative things. Okay, then we have the 4th house and Jupiter. Lots to do with the home. I think there's a financial opportunity around the home, but just don't get suckered into moderate opportunity. If it's too good to be true, be wary of that. And then we have strong air energy. We have Gemini and Libra. Something really fair is on your side. a great improvement in the house. Another message about improvement in the house. I don't think this is going to happen right now. I think it's coming though. So pay attention and pay attention and get ready for it. So members, let's do the extended with the Lenormand cards, and everybody else, I think I'm going to do the activated chart position, so that's next.